If you are listening to this story and feel a strange mix of fear and hope in your heart, then write in the comment once, the prayer of the poor never goes empty. Because today's story is not just about one village, but about every person who keeps fighting for life between hunger and poverty a long time ago, when the world was not as harsh as it is today, when people shared each other's pain and a neighbor's sorrow was considered their own sorrow. There was a small town, surrounded by high sand dunes from all sides. And in the middle of that town was a well, that same well, on which the entire life of the town depended. That same well, whose water people had drawn together and drunk together. The water of that well was sweet. It was cold, like the coolness in an elder's prayer. Like a mother's hand placed on a child's forehead during fever, people would wake up in the morning and go straight to that well, then return to their homes. That water had a strange quality. It did not just quench thirst, but also gave peace to the soul. In that same town, there lived an old woman whose name was Zubaydah. She was so old that people had forgotten how to count her age. Her back was bent. Her hands were full of wrinkles, which told the story of every pain in her life. There was a different kind of light in her eyes, the light that only appears in the eyes of those who have cried a lot, yet never stopped smiling. Zubaydah had neither a good house nor much food. There was a broken roof, from which rainwater would drip inside, for mud walls, which had developed cracks, and an old cot whose weaving was so old that lying on it made the bones crack. She was alone. She had children once, but time took everything away. One child died from fever. One was lost in war. One went abroad and never returned. Her husband also left one night without saying goodbye to life. Zubaydah cried a lot. She cried for days. Then she gathered herself and started living again, not because she loved life very much, but because she felt she still had some work left, that her name still had to come in someone's prayer. She would wake up every morning, perform ablution with cold water, pray her salah, and bow in prostration, as if all her tiredness would leave there. After prayer, she would do small jobs, sometimes clean someone's house, sometimes wash dishes, sometimes look after a child, whatever she earned. She managed her life with that. There was never any complaint in her tone, but pain always remained in her eyes, like a lamp that shines from outside but burns from inside. In that same town, there also lived a man called Baba. People only knew him by that name. No one remembered his real name. He lived under an old berry tree outside the town, whose shade was so cool that even heat would lose there. He had a torn blanket, which he used for both covering and sleeping, a wooden stick, which was as old as his childhood companion, and a clay bowl, in which he sometimes ate food given by others, but that dervish never asked anything from anyone. He accepted whatever he got and remained patient over what he did not get. The people of the town considered him crazy. Children would throw stones at him, and women would change their paths seeing him. But those who sat close to him later said, there was something in his silence that was greater than words. Baba never fought with anyone. He would smile when abused and give blessings when hit with stones. Zubaydah would sometimes go to him and bring 2 pieces of bread, which she saved by staying hungry herself. Baba would say nothing, just raise his hands and pray, as if his prayers came from the sky, not from the earth. And in this way, a friendship was formed between 2 lonely souls, without words, only with understanding. But the story had just begun, because the real game was still ahead.
If you are still listening to this story, then for a moment hold your heart and think, does justice really ever end? If you believe that justice surely happens, then write in the comment, justice comes late, but it surely comes. Because now the story is going to get deeper. The night had become very deep. A silence had spread over the town, as if even the wind was afraid to speak anything. Zubaydah was lying on her cot inside her house, and Baba was sitting beside her. A light breeze was blowing outside, as if it was turning the pages of an untold story. There was fear inside Zubaydah's heart and also hope. Fear that her life might also end like others, and hope that maybe the one above would listen to her too. The next morning, Baba woke up and went to do his usual work. But that day something different was going to happen. The people of the village had come to know that a new man had arrived in the town. His name was Harun. He was young, strong, tall in height, and he walked as if the ground belonged to him. There was a fake smile on his face, but the shine of greed was clearly visible in his eyes. He had brought some men with him. They were not laborers, but his workers, silent, merciless, and obedient to every command. They surveyed the town, looked at the streets, looked at the people, and then fixed their gaze on the well, the same well on which the entire life of the town depended. The next morning, when the sound of the Fajr prayer call was echoing in the air, Harun's men started their work. They placed stone over stone, applied mud mortar, and started raising a wall around the well as if they wanted to complete their work in darkness. When the people of the town woke up, they saw their well had been taken away from them. Walls on all sides, a heavy iron gate, and chains on the gate. A lock on the chain, and the key was in Harun's pocket. Harun came out, standing with his chest proudly raised, and said, "Now this well is mine. Whoever wants water must pay and take it." Silence spread across the town. Mothers hugged their children tightly. Elders tightened their grip on their walking sticks. But the law was with Harun because he had papers stamped with a seal, writing that looked official. And he said, "This is the decision of the Qazi." The people of the town knew that the Qazi was Harun's relative, but no one could speak anything. Water became expensive now. Those who had money bought water and went home with their heads lowered. And those who had no money stood near the well and listened to abuses. Children remained thirsty. Animals suffered in thirst. Elders looked towards the sky, but help was not coming from anywhere. Zubaydah also had no money, neither before nor now. Earlier she thought, tomorrow she would find some work. Then she thought, something will happen after tomorrow. On the third day, her lips became dry, her throat started burning, and her eyes felt heavy. She stood up, picked up her walking stick, and walked towards the well. Her intention was not to fight, but to hope. Maybe somewhere in Harun's heart, humanity still existed. But when she reached the well gate, Harun's men stopped her and laughed loudly. Zubaydah called out, "Son, Harun, come out." Harun came out. He looked at the old woman from top to bottom, as if looking at something useless. "What do you want?" Zubaydah said, "For 3 days, not a single drop of water has gone into my throat. Just give me a little water." Harun laughed and said, "Bring 2 coins. Then you will get water." Tears came to Zubaydah's eyes, but they did not fall. She looked towards the sky, then silently returned home and sat on the cot. Raised both hands. "O God," she said slowly, "I have never asked for too much, neither wealth nor respect. Today I am only asking for water." Her voice was lost in the wind. That night, Baba became worried because for the first time in 3 years, Zubaydah had not brought bread. Baba walked towards her house, and when he reached there, he saw Zubaydah was lying on the cot. Her breath was still moving, but her face had turned pale.
If you are still listening to this story, then for a moment put your hand on your heart and think, does justice come late? Or when it comes, does it change everything? If you believe that the prayer of a poor person never goes empty, then write in the comment, "There is great power in the prayer of the poor," because now the story has reached its most emotional turning point. It was morning time. Soft sunlight was falling on the streets of the town, but there was no happiness in that light. Instead, there was fear. Zubaydah was lying inside her house, and Baba was sitting beside her. Baba understood by looking at her condition that now time was very little. He stood up and went to the people of the town to ask for water. He went to the first door. "Brother, please give some water. An old woman is sick." The first man gave half a pot of water. The second one turned his face away. The third one said, "We also have less." Baba took whatever he got and came back. Slowly, slowly, drop by drop, he placed water on Zubedah's dry lips. Zubedah opened her eyes. "Baba, you," she said slowly. There was gratitude in her voice, and a little shame too. After some time, Zubedah tried to get up. Baba supported her. Both of them sat silently for some time, as if words were not needed at all. Then Zubedah asked, "How long will this continue, Baba?" Baba looked towards the sky and said nothing, but there was faith in his eyes. That same night, something strange happened in the town. Near the well, a soft golden light appeared, as if someone had lit a lamp in the darkness. And in that light, there was a golden-colored dog. His eyes were shining like fireflies. He silently sat near the well, as if waiting for someone. Harun's men saw him and got scared. They woke Harun, "Sir, there is something at the well." Harun woke up angrily and went towards the well. He saw a golden-colored dog whose shine was different from real gold. The dog did not run, seeing him. He just kept moving backwards, as if he wanted to take him somewhere. Greed is bigger than fear. So Harun ran behind him. The dog passed through streets, passed between houses, and finally stopped. In front of Zubedah's house, the same house where the old woman lived alone, the dog sat in front of the door. And at that same moment, the sound of coughing came from inside the house. That cough, which comes from 3 days of thirst. Something inside Harun broke, only for one moment. Maybe shame, maybe regret, but he immediately turned his face away. "Leave it, we will see in the morning." And he went back.